Welcome back, everybody. We are in Match 5, Game 2, and unfortunately this looks like a mulligan. It's got a couple of Silkwraps, but only one land on the draw. I just don't think that I can afford to keep that. So, unfortunately we're going to mulligan into an even worse hand with a Caves of Koilos and a bunch of blue cards. So I'm actually going to mulligan to 5 with a Starfield, Sorin, and some lands. I think that's the best we're going to get. I'm actually going to keep the Oath of Jace. I don't think his deck is the fastest. And if we find an untapped blue, then we can get rid of some of these expensive cards and find some action. But things definitely aren't looking as swell as they did last game. To be fair, of course, our opponent mulliganed to 5, so it's only fair that in Game 2 I reciprocate. So our best draw is likely Flaying Tendrils or a blue source to play Oath of Jace and try and find like a Demonic Pact or just a bunch of removal spells to get us up to Sorin. Alright, that's a Collected Company if I've ever seen one. Unfortunately, Silumgar's command not the most useful here. All of our cards are uncastable. So Collected Company into, we shall see, Duskwatch and Duskwatch. Seems like every time he can find one, he does. Of course, last game, he Duskwatch recruited into a Duskwatch recruiter twice. So if he does not attack, then it's like he's going to transform and follow up another Collected Company, so I kind of have to find a Languish here, or I am basically dead. Anguished Unmaking, I don't think is going to cut it. Can't even cast 2 spells in 1 turn. So this could be a very, very fast Game 2. I guess we get to see a little bit more of his deck, though. See if he left the Reflector Mages in. Alrighty. This is about how it goes when playing against a Collected Company deck that actually draws its companies. Alrighty, so I guess, is it even possible to survive here? Let's see, if I take 9, yeah, we're not actually dead yet. I can't block one of the 3 powers because I need this second black for a Languish, but it's not going to matter as the Displacer can just blink it, of course, which is a neat little interaction. So that's Game 2 for you. And the Deadweight would not have done much. So on to Game 3. Quick 3-minute stomping there. I think I might bring back a land and maybe cut. What do we cut? Guess I can maybe take the Disperse out. And I think I like keeping everything else the same, and since that was so fast, we don't have to pause the video, we can just keep rolling right through. I'll take the play, and this hand looks phenomenally better than the last, so I'm going to go ahead and keep it. We've got an Oath of Jace and Deadweight Silkwrap, also a Transgress the Mind. We don't necessarily have to cast that just yet. We can wait a little bit to maximize the chances of hitting a Collected Company. So I think I'm just going to start things off with a Sunken Hollow. If he plays a Loam Dryad next turn, I'll Deadweight it. If he plays nothing, then we could Transgress just to make use of our mana. I think I will do that. That way I can, if I find a 3rd untapped land, I can have a better idea of what I should Oath of Jace into. So I'm going to go ahead and fire that off. And let's take a look at his hand. I only got 1 target. I'm happy to get it though. 2 Westvale Abbeys, a Negate, Recruiter, a Visionary, and a Koilos. I'll go ahead and write those down quickly in the chat. Recruiter, and some unknown card. I'm taking the Reality Smasher, of course. Very happy for that. One of the very nasty Eldrazi Smashers. 5/5 Trample Haste for 5. That's difficult to get rid of. It's too big for a Demonic Pact to finish or a Languish, and you have to actually target it with removal, which costs an additional card. Alrighty, so we did not find the mana for Oath, unfortunately. But let's see. He's got the Recruiter still, which he might be playing next turn, in which case I would like to probably Oath of Jace into a land and Deadweight that. So I think I'm just going to pass for now, even though there's likely nothing to negate here. See if he found blue mana yet for Negate. Just a Loam Dryad. Okay, if he's got no other mana other than Westfale's, it's not too bad. Another Deadweight. So we could Oath, try and find something, or let him have his Loam Dryad, which gives him access to blue mana. He still has a Recruiter in hand. And what else? We just know about another Abbey, a Negate, and a Recruiter. I think I'm going to play the Oath, see if we can find some action. I really want to hit my land drops, of course. Alright, so we didn't find untapped black, but we did find Silumgar's Command, which I'm happy with. Shambling Vent we can play now, and then 2 cards to get rid of. I do like having an Anguished Unmaking for the Westvale Abbey. This is rather difficult. I think I can afford to... Let's see, I can get rid of a Plains, and I'll go ahead and ditch the Unmaking. And then just hope to keep drawing some land or a Demonic Pact before he finds blue mana. Unless, of course, he leaves back his Dryad, in which case I'll just end up negating, or deadweighting and hoping to eat a Negate. So there's his second Abbey, and his Recruiter. And he's going to hold up mana for the Recruiter and Negate. That makes sense. I find an untapped land I'm happy with. So I think we're going to go ahead and just deadweight most of his team. So we'll start by removing the Dryad. That'll force him to probably tap the Visionary and look at his top 3 cards off the Recruiter. Be more than happy to trade this for a Negate, but I doubt that's the case. Alright, he's floating a white, or a green mana rather, so I'll just wait for him to expend that. Finds an Eldrazi Displacer. So I kind of want to get rid of the Visionary so he can't play and start getting repeated cards off of that. So I'm going to also vanquish the Recruiter and Dispel as well, holding up, or Silkwrap holding up a Dispel. So not in the best spot, but he's got an empty board. He has a Negate and a Visionary, or not a Visionary, a Displacer, which is why we got rid of the Visionary. He can't cast too much without a great deal of pain. Finds a Sifter. He's just going to scry right away. Interesting. Just don't know about the Negate and the Displacer, which you will now play. So, we could bounce and kill one. Bounce the Displacer and kill the Sifter, likely, but I'd also really like to return the Oath of Jace to my hand. I played the land out so that I have enough mana to Dispel as well. This way I get to draw more cards. That way we're just kind of looking for action right now. So I think I'm going to wait and see what he does, as he still doesn't have blue mana to even cast Negate, which we know about. If he swings with both, I could always just activate the Vent, which would kind of get him to use his mana on the Displacer that way. But I think I'm going to go ahead and do this now. Bounce the Oath and kill the Displacer. This way, by waiting, we did give him a chance to untap with mana, so that now he can blink the Catacomb Sifter just to get a token out of it. I think I'm alright with that. We saved ourselves a little bit of damage, and it looks like he elected not even to do that. So, presumably he has something else to cast. He does also have Westvale Abbey mana at the ready. He's got another Displacer. Alright, not much we can do about that. Starfield with Deadweights in the graveyard. I think I like that. We're at a healthy enough life total. I will play the Starfield and get that online quickly as possible, while holding up Dispel. He'll likely displace his Sifter at the end of the turn, attack us for 6 next turn. I think I'm okay with that. we'll be getting recurring Deadweights. And of course, if we can find an Oath of Jace, then we'll be able to cycle, essentially, Oath into Oath and draw lots of cards. Do have to worry about these two Westvale Abbeys, though. Need an instant speed answer to Ormondal at some point, such as a Silumgar's Command or Anguished Unmaking. Opponent still has no blue mana for that Negate, which could be very relevant. Alright, so we're going to bring back a Deadweight. I think we're just going to slap it on the Eldrazi Scion to keep his board relatively clear. If I put it on the Sifter, then he can just blink it and it'll fall off. So go ahead and do that. He does get to scry, unfortunately. Find a Shambling Vent. Alright, we're going to go ahead and play this out. Hope to find some action. Alright, Stasis Snare and a Languish. Not too exciting. I think I can get rid of the two Vents, perhaps, and plan to Languish him next turn. I really like to hold on to the Stasis Snare for the inevitable Westvale Abbeys. Unfortunately, he has enough mana to repeatedly blink the Displacers and that, so I think I'm actually going to pass now, and I might potentially Stasis Snare end of turn. But the Abbeys are going to give him lots of creatures. Not much I can do about that. Alright, so here's the decision time. If this goes off, then he'll have more than enough mana to blink anything in response to the Stasis Snare, other than the Displacer itself, of course. I could blink the Sifter also, which I think I'll do that actually. Blink the Sifter, which effectively counters his activation here. And then when I inevitably Languish, he won't have any scries to go off of it. And this also keeps him clear of sacking to Westvale Abbey. So we do have Shambling Vent, which can block the Scion and whatnot. Probably going to have to Languish this turn and dispel his Negate, but we'll see what he has. Another Displacer, I'm alright with that. So he just has a Negate. So, not a whole lot of good here. We'll just go ahead and bring back the Deadweight. And I certainly don't want to Deadweight a Displacer. You could just blink it off, but that'll also give me 5 enchantments, which would then make my Languish lethal to my Stasis Snare and Silkwrap that are currently blocking his creatures. So I'm going to kill the Scion, draw our card, not too exciting. Languish here, and dispel the inevitable Negate. So we'll both be top decking at that point. He'll have 2 Westvale Abbeys to my Shambling Vent, as well as my Starfield of Nyx. So we'll see who ends up triumphing. Alright, Elvish Visionary. Doesn't really do too much. We'll just Deadweight it. Essentially, like, he just drew another card. Sifter, unfortunately, is a pretty good one. So we're going to go after the Scion, I guess. Alternatively, we could put it on the Sifter. That would give him 2 power. We could attack with every creature except for the Silkwrap. I actually kind of like that. So that could be interesting. I'm going to go ahead and put this on the Sifter. That'll make our creatures come alive. And then I can animate the Vent as well and start attacking with it. Attack him with the Oath and the Stasis Snare. He can't block to kill anything. I think I like that best. So let's go ahead and activate this guy. Attack with these 3. If I was to attack with the Silkwrap, he could block with the Scion and the Visionary, get to scry a bit, and get back another Visionary, effectively drawing a card and scrying twice. I don't think I want to do that. So he's just going to take the scries now. Taking 3. Smart of him to put the Eldrazi Scion in front of the Vent to deny lifelinking. In the next turn, we've got another Deadweight coming back. If we put it on the Vent, or on the Sifter rather, then both will go to the graveyard and we'll be left with just 4 enchantments again. So he's faced with a tough decision. He knows he gets another Scry, so presumably he found a decent card. He's wondering whether he should keep it or try his luck with the next. It's going to be a close game, though. Fortunately, he's far away from Ormondal, which would win out of nowhere. He's really working hard on deciding here. His hand is empty. So, is a guaranteed spell worth he puts on the bottom, so he's going to take his chances with a second. Understandable. He put it on bottom as well. Alright, so I think we have this game wrapped up. If his top card isn't something, you can always feed 1 life for a 1/1 human token. Oh, collected company. Alright. Let's see what he finds. We'll have exactly enough mana if we draw nothing else to activate both of the vents, and we've got 1 Deadweight coming back. Reflector Mage. That's kind of gross. Also a Eldrazi Displacer. That's about as good as you could have hoped for, I guess. That is nasty. So he's going to bounce the Silkwrap to get back his Visionary and draw another card. If he finds another creature, if he had the mana, he could sacrifice an Abbey and get an Ormondal. Looks like that's not happening, though. Alright, so we're going to bring back a Deadweight. And he's going to blink his Sifter. I'm going to go ahead and put that on the Scion, not let him scry, or rather, not let him blink whatever else would have it. Silumgar's command is pretty decent here. I think we might have to cast it now. Can bounce the Oath and kill the Displacer, perhaps. He does get to scry continuously, so we can't actually play the Silkwrap. We could play the command to bounce the Oath, kill the Displacer, and replay the Oath, discarding a Silkwrap, which we can then bring back next turn with the Starfield. I kind of like that. So I think I'm going to bounce and kill. We'll hold up mana as such, I think. Oh, that could be a problem. I think I tapped incorrectly there as well in my haste. Yikes. With the Prairie stream, I needed to hold up a blue, so that is regrettable. And hopefully it doesn't cost us the game. I'm going to go ahead and play the Swamp as well. Can't actually play the Silkwrap, but next turn if we can Oath into something like a Languish, perhaps. We have 1 more in our deck. But that was certainly not ideal. He's got 1 card in hand. Can he generate 2 creatures? I think if he has another Sifter, he would have enough to bring out Ormondal, but maybe he suspects I'd have a Stasis Snare and would not go for it. Yeah, I absolutely should have tapped differently to play the Oath of Jace, discarding the Silkwrap. We could bring that back next turn to deal with one of these 3 toughness creatures that our Deadweight cannot. He's going to stay back on defense because the Shambling Vents are otherwise lethal. So let's bring back a Deadweight. I think we're going to kill off a Visionary, perhaps. does get to scry, but I think it's better to keep his board clear. Demonic Pact. I think I still want to cast Oath here, and then likely play the Pact. If I can find something to guarantee this resolves, unless he gains life, he is dead next turn to the Pact. He can't activate Westvale twice. So I think Oathing into a counter or a board wipe just for some added security. Alternatively, I could play the Pact and hold up a blocker with Shambling Vent, or just attack with the Vent to guarantee we have enough life to survive Ormondal. I think I'm going to play the Pact and see if he has a counterspell. Unlikely as it is, but it's very possible. Alright, Pact is in play. So unless he gains life somehow, which I haven't actually seen any way of doing so, short of Ormondal, then we have one next turn. So he wins if he collected companies into something, and then he sacrifices to Ormondal. So to not die to that, I would have to play the Oath and find a land removal spell. Alternatively, I could Silkwrap a creature now, and finally I could just attack with a Shambling Vent to go to 11, which would prevent us from dying. I think I might want to go with the Silkwrap here. If he collected companies into some number of sifters, I think we would just die regardless. So I think I'm going to go with the Silkwrap and take the sifter and hope for the best. We win on our upkeep. We die on his turn. One or the other. I'm just going to make a token. So he needs 6 mana to activate the Westvale. 1 including itself. He needs to find 3 creatures. That's a lot of Elvish Visionaries or some such. All right, collected company. If one of them is a sifter, then he has a land in his hand. He wins the game. This is pretty tense. See what he finds. There's a sifter and a Duskwatch. Does he have a land as his last card? If he does, he wins exactly. Finds 1 mana. What else has he got? Even a Reality Smasher won't kill us. Deal 8 damage. Oh dear, he might have, oh my, I believe he, accidentally sacrificed. He did have an untapped land in hand. He sacrificed his Eldrazi token. That is very unfortunate, as he would have had the necessary mana and number of creatures to sacrifice to the Westvale. But, what to do? I think I'm going to just concede to him, as he does have, he has the game. Although, to be fair, I also threw it away the previous turn with my mana tapping, so I guess maybe one mistake for another. Okay, well, it's not necessarily over then just yet, so we're still in here. Kills my Demonic Pact. I can bring it back, but the time to attack would have already passed, or the time to use its ability. So I guess we're going to decide this next turn. He attacks with both. I can bring back something and then play Oath. That will animate my card, my enchantments. So I guess we're going to see what happens here. Alright, so if I brought back a Deadweight, then I would only have 4 enchantments with the Oath. So I think I have to bring back a Deadweight and put it on the Sifter, or bring back the Demonic Pact. I think I'm going to bring back the Pact. If I can win this turn, then I think I would be content in earning a victory. Whereas, had he not had the Enlightened Ascetic that he found off of his Recruiter, then I would have conceded, since a simple misclick like that. Oh. Well, this just keeps complicating things. If I play Sorin and I plus, if I find literally any spell in my deck, I win the game. Oh, that is really unfairly tempting. I think I have to play the Oath of Jace to animate my Stasis Snare, Starfield, and Silkwrap, and attack with a 3. I think that is the logical play. So I'm going to go ahead and do that and see what we find. It doesn't get much closer than this game. I throw the game away, he throws the game away, and then a decision like that on what lies at the top of my deck so crucially. Okay, so would have plussed into a swamp from the looks of it. So I have 5 mana or 6, so I can either, I'm discarding 1 swamp, I can either discard the Starfield and play Sorin, or discard Sorin and play Starfield, or just another land and play Starfield. If I play the Starfield, then that brings my other Starfield up, and I will have 3 attackers. He'll block all 3, and he'll have what he has. If I play Sorin, then I can attack him with 2 creatures, but him blocking Silkwrap would bring 1 back. Or I could play Sorin and go for the victory. If I do nothing, then he untaps and sacrifices his Westvale Abbey. This is quite nerve-wracking, really. Could also play Sorin and minus more than necessary to kill a creature and also gain enough life that Ormondal is no longer lethal. As far as I could tell, though, I do not have the victory on the board. It was a very difficult decision. So let's just see how many lands we have left in the deck. I think we're playing the full 25, so 1, 2, 3 in the grave, 2 in hand, and 8 in play. So we're more likely than not to have a spell on top of our deck. But play Sorin and plus, and it's a land, then we've lost. I think the way to maximize our chance at victory is to play Sorin, but minus, to kill a creature and have enough life to survive through Ormondal and attack with nothing currently, but we have some blockers. So, as interesting as this is, what a game. I'm going to go ahead and play Sorin. And I will minus him, destroying, I think, it's either the Catacomb Sifter or the Reflector Mage. I'm leaning towards Sifter just so that he doesn't get the Scry. Gets to find things off the Recruiter, but again, Sorin plussing just once is sufficient to win. So I'm going to go with the Sifter. And I think the only way we could lose is if he top decks a Reflector Mage, bounces one of my enchantments so I have no blockers, and then sacrifices everything except for 1 2-power creature and the Westvale. So I think I'm going to minus 5 and go to 11. That way Sorin stays in play. And literally the only way I lose is off a Reflector Mage, of which he has already cast 1. I think that is the one card that would do it, short of another Collected Company. That is rough. Alternatively, I go with a conservative play, go up to 12 life, lose my Sorin, try and win off the Pact. I'm going to do that. I don't want to lose to a runner out. So, go ahead and kill the Sifter, gain enough life that I can survive even through Ormondal and any of his creatures with 2 power. And then win next turn off Demonic Pact, or some combination of attacks involving my double Shambling Vent as well. Very exciting game. He's going to look for something. Ridiculous game. Alright, Catacomb Sifter is good. But is it enough to survive Demonic Pact? Looks like no. I think we're going to bring back Starfield. Scry nothing and deal 4 game 4. And pray that it's enough.